Alright guys, just as the previous video I was telling you about that insomnia is the real problem with me. So, and on another thing, because not that I'm physically chained to this bed, but just like last video I was saying that spiritually I'm chained to this love, so she won't let me go. So I'm going to continue to expatiate on rather another topic. So absolutely to divert the topic situation that but I want to talk about George Orwell, because he's been my hero since when I was in high school. And actually I'm not well versed in all the journalists out there, and the only book that I read is Animal Farm in 1984. 1984 is the classic of the dude. And so my take on George Orwell, not that my take, just my thoughts, my observation of this eccentric dude that pulling antics all over the place. And the dude is just, I think this guy is more than a journalist and a writer. This guy is a prophet. And on the other hand, you just feel it's kind of weird that this guy has tuberculosis the whole time. And the one that you think that you realize that he's smoking like a chimney. Is that going against the grain? And this is something about this guy's character, because this guy doesn't care about his carnal beings, because this guy knows that he's going to eternity. Because because he knows that this. Alright, my girl got disturbed. Alright, continue on. This guy is really interesting. He was born into a rather very well off almost an aristocratic family, but upper middle class. And he went to school at Eton, right? And what did he do? Of course, he was in a colonial time, so he was in Burma, now Myanmar, and so he was in the British police court in Burma. And I have a feeling that if he did not resign, that he would become a sadist, because given the imperial times, and this is why his socialist leftist tendencies, which is all fine. And afterwards in Barcelona in the Spanish Civil War, and that's where it come from. But my take is that given his observation, his keen identifications, and seeing what he sensed about the phenomena of 20th century, namely the three conundrum of 20th century, that is fascism, communism, and totalitarianism, or started with Stalin, so and in China, and today in North Korea, and the fascist the Islamic fascism, what we see in what they try to pull in the Taliban, I'd say. They try to pull the Sharia laws and everything. It's just completely fall into 1984. I'm just saying, I just think that if anybody asks you what is your favorite contemporary English writers, and obviously it goes absolutely, it's George Orwell. Orwell is such an amazing character that if you think about it, this guy is not an ordinary guy, because he penned down 1984 when he almost reaching his deathbed in 1945, somewhere around there. So he can see the future, and which exactly lasted about half a century during the Cold War. And if you're in the Eastern Bloc, That's Europe, Eastern Bloc, or Soviet, or China before Deng Xiaoping in Mao's China, in my parents' era. That's exactly what 1984 says. That you're absolutely cancel, eradicating all your libido, and there's no sense of what is romantic love, and just uh, exactly what it says, and constantly there is somebody called ghosting. Now that America, somebody will identify it was Bin Laden, which is, I don't think it's not true at all. But ghosting is this unidentifiable, uh, unclear enemy forever out there, and so that people is gonna rally up and say that we hate them, and we don't even know. I just imagine that when I grew up in China, uh, in my elementary school, so this institutionalized exercises, mass propaganda, brainwashing sessions about this enemy, which is not, we don't know who this enemy is, and that's what exactly what the 1984 says. Also, go back to Animal Farm. Animal Farm was such a genius writings. I mean, you can read it when you were a child, but you can read it as an adult, and you can read it even growing older. You just said that it was just really humorous about the fact that the animal overthrew the human and the pigs. That's a metaphor for the Soviets, the commies, which is really so funny that the pigs become worse than the humans, and that's what just says about the communists. The fascists are worse than the aristocrats and the imperialists, let's say, the colonists, and they bred a whole bunch of dogs, which is like the Waffen SS or the Hitler Youth, or in communists. And when we're little children, we all wear the little red scarf, and that saying that we're the communists inherited. People, children that will be more ferocious. In Animal Farm, those are the little dogs, and see, George Orwell is not a particular humorous individual, but some of his humor is really. Once it pops in, it's really dry humor. It makes you crack up, and like in Animal Farm, and once that the pigs, they overthrow the humans, and they bury a bunch of hams, and they get a proper burial for the hams. And reminds you that fucking Lenin mausoleums in Moscow and Mao's mausoleum in Beijing. It's just like, if you really give some thoughts about humanity, it's nothing different than the Animal Farm. All right, my girls has got kind of disturbed about it. All right, she just, yeah, cause I couldn't go anywhere. She wouldn't let me go out. So all right, I catch you guys later.